Hello, and welcome to the Biomass Magazine podcast. I am your host, Anna Simet. We are here in Nashville, Tennessee at the International Biomass Conference and Expo on the trade show floor. I'm here with my friend, Glenn Stastny from Schaeffer Manufacturing. Glenn, hello, and welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me back. It's awesome. This is an awesome show.
Oh, thank you so
I've,
much.
I think I've been doing this. I'm not 100% positive, but I think I've been doing this for about 16 years now. I'm not
Almost
sure.
from the beginning, then.
That's right. Very close.
That's awesome.
The very first show I did was when you guys were in the Twin Cities.
Okay, yep.
There you go.
Yeah,
So,
Minneapolis.
Yep.
All right. So, Glenn, why don't you begin by telling us more about Schaeffer Manufacturing, who you guys are? I know you've been around for a really long time.
Yes, we have Schaeffer's Manufacturing is a family-owned company out of St. Louis, Missouri. We've been around since 1839. And the big thing about us is we do everything, roughly, I shouldn't say everything, but like 95 to 98% of our base products are all bought from companies within the United States, oil companies and stuff like that. We don't own any oil wells or anything like that. We're a manufacturing facility, and so that's what we do with our base stuff. Buy it from there and then put it together and make a complete product.
How many employees do you guys have?
Well, depends on. If you consider all the sales reps, there's roughly over 650
Oh.
sales reps.
Okay.
So we've got quite a few. We do a lot of work internationally also. We've got a bunch of stuff. So we do a lot of work in the oil field industry too. And so we've got a specialty product that we work with there. So we do a lot of work there. We also do a lot of work in the mining industry. We have a specialty product there that we make for big drag lines and stuff like that. So, but altogether we have, 650, 700 employees.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's get into lubricants.
Yep.
What generally makes a lubricant considered high quality?
The big thing about that is looking at the base oils that you deal with. There are a number of different grades of base oils that you're going to deal with. So when we spec an oil, we spec the highest quality oil that we can. We heavily hydrogenate it and we close the molecule. And in fact, if you get a chance, if you come over to our booth, we actually have jars of gear oil and grease, and it shows the difference between a conventional gear oil and our gear oil and how they'll mix with water, or ours won't mix with water because it's a enclosed molecule. Actually, my chemistry teacher would be very impressed with me because I didn't do very good in high school in chemistry.
You showed in.
And then the greases also, you can see how they're changing colors and breaking down because of the presence of water. And these guys, when they're making pellets, all the facilities that do stuff with wood, they're always have moisture is there. It's always available.
Right.
It's a part of the pellet making and stuff like that. So you got to have a product or a grease or an end product, gear oil, hydraulic oil, whatever it might be, that's not going to take on water. It's going to resist it. And actually, like I said, if you get a chance to take a look, our gear oil, you can actually shut the gearbox off and you could drain the water off of the bottom. So superior quality products and doing the things that we do makes a big difference.
Right.
Yep.
So, Glenn, I should have asked this first, but so let's say someone who's not really familiar with the biomass industry at all,
Yep.
and they're like, okay, you supply lubricants. Who here are you selling them to, and what are they using them for?
So, interestingly enough, Derek and I were walking around before, and virtually almost all of these companies we could sell to. We've stopped and visited with one guy because he said they're a manufacturing facility.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, I was down at your booth, and we have gearboxes. Okay, so we talked about the gearboxes. So we could sell to virtually all the people that are here. We sell to pellet mill manufacturers, or pellet mill manufacturers. We sell to the pellet people that use the pellet mills to make pellets. We just visited with a guy who needs oils it's a OSB facility, and he needs oils for his chains, his conveyor chains and stuff like that.
Yep.
So we have roughly over 1,000 lubricants. And then we have, you take that, and then we have derivatives of them. So different, when I say derivatives, it's different weights.
Okay.
And so let's say one application is going to use a 264 ISO 220. Another application is going to use a 264 ISO 460. Same oil, just different weights.
Okay.
So
That makes sense.
But yeah, we could sell virtually to everybody except the computer guys. Like we have a couple of friends that we've seen at this show. They do computer work and stuff like that. Can't sell them.
Oh, right.
Yeah, their computer doesn't need oil, but their vehicle does.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering that for me.
Yes.
Let's move to additives. How important are additive packages?
Very important. So the big thing is if you start with a good base product, that's excellent. But then if you put a good additive package in there, it beefs it up. So it's
Okay.
kind of like two guys. One guy's a weightlifter. He's beefed up a little bit more. The other guy's just kind of like me, a regular Joe Schmo. And so the additive packages makes that better. Now some companies will use a lower quality base stock, but they'll use a very high quality additive package.
Okay.
And so what I tell guys is always look at what's the weakest link. So let's say you and I are out on a trail or whatever, your vehicle, I saw you and you're stuck in the mud and I'm going to help pull you out. Well, my chain's only as good as the weakest link when I'm pulling you out. So, but then let's say Derek comes along or Chip comes along and Chip's got a brand new chain. Well, his chain's going to be better because there's no weakest links there. So that's what you look at. An additive package is extremely, extremely important.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense. Okay, so what about greases? What makes a grease considered to be waterproof or resistant?
So that you take a look at the different bases. There's lithium complex, aluminum complex. There's many different types of greases. Some of them are going to be waterproof. Some of them are not going to be waterproof. They'll be a good grease, but they won't be waterproof. So same thing if you come over to our booth, take a look. We've got 2 greases that we made specifically for the pellet mill industry for both the ring dies and the flat dies, and those greases are waterproof. And then we have some other greases that are being sold into those areas, and they're not waterproof, and so they start to break down. And the big thing you take a look at is water doesn't do anything for lubrication.
Yeah.
And so if you have water in there, then you have no lubrication in that aspect. So take a picture of a bearing. One of the companies has a pretty good sized bearing there, and you've got those rollers in there that are rolling inside that shell. If there's not lubrication in there, that roller is going to create a drag or a divot in there, and then it's going to go have a problem. It's not going to sit on there straight, so that makes a big difference.
Okay, that you kind of answered my next question then, which was how does being waterproof benefit the equipment being lubricated?
So the big thing there is that it doesn't wash out of the system. So you're going to use less grease. So perfect example, one of the facilities that I went into, when I went in, we started putting the Schaeffer's grease in, and the guy goes, I think our heat's going up. He said, I don't have enough grease. I'm like, whoop, hold on, turn the grease down. And he goes, well, why? And I said, because ours won't wash away, it won't break down as quickly, and so that's going to make a big difference. And that application, we dropped down 10%, and so he's using 10% less grease, and he's still getting the same results. And then after running for a long time, if you don't have those issues with water washout and that, the bearings last longer. So same facility, after we were in there for a period of time, we went from 1,000 hours, or they went from 1,000 hours of bearing life to 4,000 hours of bearing life. So we 4 times their bearing life, plus we did it with 10% less grease.
So in terms of like monetizing the benefits of higher quality grease, like can you put any numbers on that?
Yes, I can in certain circumstances. If we have a bottom line cost analysis program, so if a company, some of the larger companies that are here are not going to give me that information simply for the fact they are who they are, and I respect that.
Yep.
But some of the smaller companies, we can punch in the numbers and say, okay, what's your bearing life? What's the cost of the bearing? And then now what's your bearing life?
Hmm.
So 4 times may not sound like a whole lot, but let's say that bearing is worth $10,000. Okay, so you're going to put $40,000 worth of bearings in
Hmm.
to my $110,000 bearing. That makes a big difference. And then
Yeah.
on some of these pellet mills, they have 3, 4, 5, and 6 heads on there. And so take that time, let's just take it times 3.
Yep.
And now we're going to 3 times that out. So that's even a whole lot more.
Right.
So that makes a big
Okay.
difference. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
So Glenn, are there any greases that are considered exceptional when it comes to water washout?
There is. I guess I would say the one that we use the most, or our base that we use a few of the other ones, but is an aluminum complex. And the perfect example that I use for that, you and I probably used both a lithium complex this morning and an aluminum complex. If you took a shower, you put soap on and stuff like that,
Hmm.
that's a lithium complex.
Okay.
And then after you take a shower, you're getting ready, you put on antiperspirant, that's an aluminum complex. So they're water. A lithium complex is going to be water resistant, but it isn't waterproof because you washed all the soap off.
Hmm.
A lithium or an aluminum complex is water resistant and waterproof because we definitely don't want that to
Definitely.
leave before the day is done. So that's the difference
Okay.
that you're looking at. So there's a number of different types of base stocks out there in the grease industry. We kind of settle on an aluminum complex. I mean, I've seen some different ones, but they're substantially way more expensive. So
Okay. Some great examples. Okay. Last question. Can lubricants impact energy consumption?
yes, big time, very big time. So one of the things that we do, we have a tech guy who's in our corporate office. His name is Stephen Plopper, and Stephen goes around and does energy studies. And so what we take a look at is we do a before and an after. And now the information I'm going to give you is actually old information as far as because the cost of a KW, which is your electricity, has gone up substantially. Now, back in the day, we would look at it and say we can save on an average of $10 per horsepower per year in electrical draw. So one of the guys that stopped at our booth today, he said, "So what you're telling me is I have an 800 horsepower gearbox, and if you're going to save $10 per horsepower per year, that's roughly going to be about $8,000 in electrical." And I said, "Yes, roughly." Old old math, okay?
Mm-hmm.
New math, because we're seeing
Oh.
the $13 a kW now and stuff like that. That's maybe going to be as high as $15 or $17 a year.
Wow.
So when you take a look, I mean, I don't know if you've ever gotten to walk through some of these facilities and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, but if you take a look at all the big gearboxes and stuff like that one guy said, we have 14 800 horsepower gearboxes, and then we've got 12 350 horsepower gearboxes and stuff like that. If you're going to use a higher quality lubricant that's going to create less friction or less drag within the system, that means you're going to have either less you're going to consume, which means cuts your bottom line operating costs, or in some of the facilities that I have, or one of the guys that we talked to, he said, well, if we don't use it, we sell it. Okay, so now he's got more to sell
Right.
down the road. So it just depends on how you look at it. So,
Okay. Well, that's all the questions that I have, Glenn. Is there anything else that you want to add?
not other than this is an excellent show. If you've never been to this show,
Thank you.
you definitely need to come. It's been well worth our time. Like I said, I've been doing this for 16 years. I've followed you guys all over. Next
Mhm.
year, I guess we're back at Atlanta
We
again.
are.
And so I love this show. The people that I get to meet at this show are interesting. We talked to a guy from Canada today, talked to a guy from Florida. I mean,
Love it.
that's a big spread, you know.
It is.
And so we've talked to people from all over. We work in this industry. We love the industry. And so let's keep on doing this show.
Let's do it. Yeah. Well, Glenn, loved having you back. And thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah. And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next time.